Welcome to Doomscroll, Lisa Curry.
Sorry. Okay.
We don't have to cut out laughter, I think.
Yeah.
But okay.
Oh, that's fair.
Welcome to Doomscroll. Welcome to Doomscroll. I'm Lisa Curry.
Hey, and I'm Matt Sheffield. Wow, we're having trouble starting here today, but we can do it. And today we're joined by a friend of the show, John Fugelsang. Hey, John, good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you.
Nice to be seen. Thank you guys for having me. I had such a great time having you all on our SiriusXM show. I'm honored to drag your show down to our level. So
yeah, well, we all try and don't succeed.
But everyone loves a good feud, and now Trump and RFK Junior are in a fight, which it was inevitable. And Trump has blasted Kennedy as a Democrat plant, which I assure you he is not, I promise you. And he's warning Republicans to not vote for him. Kennedy then called him unhinged and challenged him to a debate. This might be the most entertaining year on record.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they're fishing in the same pond. That's really what this comes down to. And you know, they're going for the same voters, the conspiracy believers that will believe literally anything that feels good to them. And you know, you love to see it. You love to see it.
I mean, it's sad because they have so much in common. They both got the COVID vaccine, and they're both trying to get Donald Trump elected president. They have so much in common, these two guys. Oh, yeah. And for both of them, the number one donor to their PACs is billionaire Tim Mellon of the Mellon dynasty, the people who stalked the Clintons for 8 long years. So keep that in mind. One billionaire is the single biggest donor to both RFK and Trump. He's funding both sides like the dude bro Palpatine. But this is
what do you think is the play there? Just to bet on whoever, just to have a winning horse?
The play there is to get I'll bet money that all the money spent to promote RFK's campaign is concentrated in 7 certain states. And the entire campaign, and the same of Dr. Cornel West, who I have respected deeply all my life and no longer can. The goal is to get Donald Trump reelected in 7 swing states. That's it. And it's awkward for me because I'm BFFs with both of them. But,
friends of the show. Friends of the show.
But I mean, Kennedy was running as a Democrat. Now he's not. He's not going to win. He knows he's not going to win. He's not even going to win the Hyannisport primary.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah, all his own family. I mean,
elected.
Yeah, you never see anything like that. Nothing like that has ever happened before. His whole family basically was like, "We're endorsing Joe Biden."
Oh, we've seen it. Paul Gosar's entire family did a TV ad.
Oh.
I mean,
True. Yeah. Well,
it is funny too, like
when
he ran the vintage, or he ripped off the vintage JFK ad commercial during the Super Bowl, and then was like, "Oh yeah. Whoopsie, that was his. Well, I didn't mean it." It's like, come on, man. You've got to be kidding me. Also, like, and I've said this on here before. I've said this ad nauseum, but I don't like that we have a 2-party system. Unfortunately, that is what we have. We're choosing between living with mom and living with dad. You can't choose your best friend or the neighbor or what. It's just a reality. I don't understand why there's more people even running for president. What a waste of money.
Well, I agree, but I would also point out, I believe in third parties. Our first third-party president got the White House with only 38% of the vote, and he was a Republican, and his name was Lincoln. So I really do believe in third parties. They can be good. And I voted for Ralph Nader more than once. I voted for Ralph Nader in 96 against term. So I'm not against that. But it's not really a choice of living with mom or dad. It's living with mom or dad if dad's got a meth lab full of Nazis.
No shit.
It's not really apples and oranges. It's apples and chunks of Satan's unholy vomit. That's really what and I'll criticize Joe Biden all day. I will tear him apart all day. And then I will spend all night explaining why he's light years better than Donald Trump. And a vote for anybody but Joe Biden in those 7 swing states is a vote for Trump. And that's why you got to remember, RFK is running to get Trump elected. RFK, son of Robert Kennedy, nephew of John Kennedy, is trying to elect a guy who wants less gun control. That's where we're at. He makes me ashamed to be a heroin addict, folks. He makes me ashamed to be a heroin addict and a terrible husband, I've got to say. By the way, the Trump campaign is worried about RFK Jr. because they're calling him a Democrat. You'll know the Biden campaign is worried about RFK Jr. when they start talking about his first marriage. That hasn't happened yet. But believe me, if that story goes mainstream, no one's supporting this guy except the worst possible males in society. So I don't think the White House.
So quite a few.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're already going for Trump. That's the thing. But no, it's true. And like the thing about third parties is that the Republican Party has given up trying to persuade a majority of Americans. They have decided, no, we're going to pursue a minoritarian agenda, and we're going to do that by suckering low information, naive left wingers. And that's what the Kennedy campaign was about. That's what when they were backing Kanye West in 2020 was about. But the thing is,
as well. I mean, a lot of men without uteruses in 7 swing states who were too pure to compromise and vote for Hillary Clinton, for corporatist, incrementalist, shitty, neoliberal Democrat Hillary Clinton. 7 states of guys with no uteruses being too pure for her is why women today have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers did. It is liberal dude bros who took abortion rights away.
Yeah, I hate them.
Yeah,
I would like for them to be castrated. Every last one of them.
I'm against that, but I do think that we need to frame this as to who we have to thank for this. I mean, we can thank liberal guys who were too pure for Hillary for everything Donald Trump has done, and that's going to be the same case right now with the RFK campaign. RFK knows he can't win, and look, I've admired Bobby Kennedy Jr. I've had him on TV shows of mine. He's done my Sirius XM show. I've met the man. I admire him. I had helped promote books of his. I thought he was a great broadcaster on Ring of Fire Radio with Mike Papantonio all these years. This is really sad, and it's not as sad as Cornel West, but it could be sad if it hurts Biden in these 7 states, because I'm not a Democrat, I don't care, but I do think that the only thing that works is electing Democrats and then kicking their asses every day. That's the only thing I've seen that helps.
Agreed.
Joe Biden has become much more progressive because people have kicked his ancient ass every day, and I give him credit for it. Bobby Kennedy, again, it should be inspiring, but he's not serious. He's never run. I always didn't know, why won't he run for Senate? Why won't he run for Congress?
Exactly.
Instead, he's running to get Donald Trump the presidency. That's it.
But speaking of Republicans, and this is just another example that the two parties are not the same. Arizona became the latest state to indict the fake electors that Donald Trump and his cronies set up in 2020. And this time they took it even further than a lot of the other states did. And they also indicted a bunch of Trump's attorneys, including Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, John Eastman, Christina Bobb, and one of his current attorneys, Boris Epshteyn, who is his current Michael Cohen, basically. That's who Boris Epshteyn is. And so, which, this is the closest that that one of these fake elector cases has come with him. And it's good to see. It's good to see
Boris's first time being indicted. I feel so, because I know Boris. So I'm only 1 degree removed from this. Finally, someone Donald Trump mass indictment. I feel so sorry. Yeah. Congrats, guys.
Yeah, and he it's just odd that Trump uses him as his consigliere currently.
Oh, it's not hard. It's not odd at all. He's a very.
You don't think so?
No, he's a very.
You think he's smart? Really?
Very smart. He's not very wise, but he's very smart.
Okay.
Well, as it gets around Donald Trump, isn't it? Like, you'll have, like they always said, where are the adults in the room? There were no adults in the room. There was adult film stars in the room. There were no adults in the room.
I can't wait for the Republican backlash, which will inevitably be calling for the impeachment of anyone in power in the state of Arizona that's a Democrat.
Yeah.
We're just handing out impeachments left, right, and center now. I think they've lost the definition of impeachment somewhere along the way. God bless them.
Oh yeah. But just remember, if Arizona can indict Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows and Christina Bobb and John Eastman and Jenna Ellis and Boris Epstein and Kelly Ward for conspiring to stop our democracy with fake electors, then they can do it to any of us. So
that's
send
right.
billionaire a check, folks, because they're going to come for your fake election next.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, actually, for my own safety, now that you bring that up.
Yeah.
Which, and by the way,
the presidents who didn't commit crimes for some reason aren't being persecuted. Only Trump. Only Trump.
Yeah. It's
the poor
that's
guy.
A double standard, two-tiered system of justice there, baby.
Really
Everything they say is in bad faith, the right wing, and
yes,
and you can see that. Yeah, with this whole obsessive focus on Columbia University protests, that when Donald Trump, his trial was going on, Fox News had a bunch of students protesting as the top story on all of their shows and on their homepage. And like literally every other news organization in America, except for right-wing media, like actual legitimate journalism, this is how you know it's not real, is they were covering some college kids complaining about stuff, as if that was the national news story. And this is very deliberate. Like they want you to focus on that. And it doesn't mean those students are perfect or whatever, but again, it's some fucking college kids who are complaining about stuff. Who gives a shit? At the end of the day, this is a local story.
I don't think the current college protest is a local story. It's a worldwide,
well,
it's a global story.
But not originally.
Yeah.
Not originally. But that's what I mean. In other words, again, like you can agree with them or disagree with them. It doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, it was some people making tents in New York.
I mean, even that feels like too big of a story for Fox News to have with any prominence while Trump is on trial. I mean, I'm surprised they're not covering like kitten mittens or something just completely inane.
Well, they're searching far and wide for an illegal immigrant having committed some sort of traffic violation or something, something that they can cover besides Donald Trump being exposed as a media manipulator and campaign finance fraud.
There are so many layers of hypocrisy to this. I mean, you've got the Republican Party hypocrisy, the Fox News hypocrisy, and the mainstream media hypocrisy. Mike Johnson went there to Columbia University, a few blocks from where I live, to wag his finger at these students. Plenty of them are Israeli, by the way, on the campus, who are protesting the actions of the Israeli civilian government. So let's get this out of the way. Here's the disclaimer we have to always have. Criticizing Hamas doesn't mean you hate Palestinians or all Muslim people. Criticizing the corrupt Netanyahu gangster regime doesn't mean you hate Israelis or all Jewish people. And criticizing the Trump administration doesn't mean you hate all racists or all gullible people. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Mike Johnson shows up at Fox News, shows up at Columbia for the Fox News soundbite. He doesn't really care. No one's listening to him. He's trying to win back the racists of his party that he lost by arming Ukraine so that they can stop being raped and slaughtered by Vladimir Putin for a few months. Mike Johnson honored our allies and did what Republicans used to do and tried to do his part to stop modern day Hitler. And people in our country who like modern day Hitler haven't forgiven him yet. So that's the only reason Mike Johnson was at Columbia University. It had nothing to do with the Middle East, had to do with his own ratings in his own party. And he went to wag his finger at 4 of the safest targets Fox News can offer. Their geriatric base drooling on the clicker. College students, brown female college university presidents, New York City, and Muslim. Those 4 groups he went to wag his finger at and scold.
Bingo.
Yeah, it was just for the footage. That was it. He went for the soundbite. The mainstream, and then there's Fox News, where anytime you would have a Charlie Kirk or a Milo Yiannopoulos, Nazis, Nick Fuentes, Nazis, hardcore Hitler defenders like Candace Owen. Anytime they are protested at a school, then it becomes a First Amendment crisis. But when people are protesting against the actions of the Israeli government, they are calling literally for the National Guard. And they know when they say call National Guard on college kids, they know everyone thinks about Kent State. That's the
Yeah,
message
they know
they're
the
trying
history
to
of it.
send. I'm willing to have someone else shoot someone else to get your vote. That's all that was about. But the mainstream media needs to be addressed in this too, because the mainstream media has the situation where after the atrocious attacks of last October, which were vile and hideous and anti-Muslim and anti-Islam and evil, because Hamas are Nazi terrorists, and then Netanyahu, gangster criminal thug, hated by his own people, who is using this war to prolong his own corruption charges. He was already rejiggering the entire Israeli Supreme Court to try to
stay out of
insulate
jail.
himself.
Yeah.
This, just as Trump has to keep trying to be in office to stay out of jail, Netanyahu is doing the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
And he's deliberately starving the civilian population of Gaza. They murdered World Central Kitchen workers who the IDF was guiding. They were guiding their every step and then murdered them, one car, then the next car, then the next car, as a way of telling all aid groups to stay away because they are using deliberate starvation as a weapon of war. This is a war crime. It is illegal under American law for us to give them money and support it. And so the media is reporting college kids protesting what he's doing. The media is not protesting starvation as a weapon of war. The media is bringing you spoiled liberal fucking brats protesting him using starvation as a weapon of war.
Well, I guess I think objectively good news. The Federal Trade Commission banned non-compete agreements last week, which is, that's fantastic news, because the companies have been getting so insane with these non-compete agreements that even people who work for fast food restaurants have been forced to sign non-compete agreements. I mean, imagine that. You can't go from cooking fries at McDonald's to fries at Burger King.
Yeah, I feel like if you're McDonald's and your company can't survive one of your managers knowing the secret sauce on a Burger King burger, then maybe you shouldn't be in business.
Or maybe you should just make some better fucking food. How about that?
I mean, non-compete, it traps people in their jobs, right? It prevents people from trying to get a better job. And what's most exciting about this is that this could wind up increasing wages by $300 billion a year. Like, I'm like, the thing I like best about Joe Biden, and I'm not a Democrat, and he wasn't my first choice, wasn't my second choice. I could go on. But what I like best about Joe Biden is how many billionaires are getting really angry during his administration. Yeah. And this makes a lot of billionaires really angry. Wages will probably go up because of this.
Well, and the thing is, and everybody knows this, anytime you work for a corporation and also a lot of smaller companies, it is so much harder to get a raise and a promotion within your own company than it is to leave and go use the skills you've learned there and go somewhere else. So it's like, I don't know that people would have been up in arms about this as much in the first place if they could just move up the fucking ladder at their own company. I mean, years ago, I worked at a restaurant and a friend of mine was the manager, and corporate told him, we will never make you GM if you want to, or he was like an AGM, and they said, we will never make you the general manager. If you want a general manager position, you have to go to another company and come back if you want to be general manager here. And it's like, that's so common and it's so frustrating.
Yeah. Well, and in a lot of fields also, like, they're so small that if you have a non-compete, you basically can never leave, because there's only 2 or 3 other companies that do the same thing. And if you have a non-compete agreement, you literally cannot go anywhere else. So you're trapped in this job forever.
Exactly.
So like, and that happens to a lot of people, or like, or you would have to move to a completely different city, or like, it's fucking sucks. And Joe Biden has got to talk about, like, his administration is doing stuff like this. And also things like with, fining airline companies for, charging ridiculous fees for cancellations and
The
things
junk
like that.
fees too. I mean, so much, so much. I mean, what
And
Biden
ATM
has
stuff.
done here, this is going to help millions of people, and it's going to make our economy stronger. And that guarantees A, the media won't talk about it, and B, voters will never hear about it. It's another Biden success story that only exists with people who follow this kind of news, because journalists have a responsibility to tell the truth and inform the public. Media has a responsibility to make profit and get high ratings and clicks and eyeballs and satisfy their shareholders. And let's just say Joe Biden is not as good for media as guys who want to give media another tax cut. So, I mean, it's rigged. You know, the coverage is rigged. The New York Times, all this focus on Biden's age, all the media with these articles. Oh, these two old men. American people want a better choice than these two old guys, because the two old guys are exactly the same, aren't they? American people. I mean, Donald Trump's having a violent revolution against our government, and Joe Biden thinks women should be allowed to decide what to do with their own bodies. Wow, where are we supposed to go with this? It's all crazy. And this is the narrative that keeps, this is a great thing Joe Biden did. And you're right, Matt. It's the sort of thing that every voter should know about, and probably most never will.
Yeah.
I feel like there's also too much focus just generally on Biden's opinion of Trump, or on sometimes the left-wing media can put a ton of focus on, like, look at all that Trump has done that is bad. And I have friends that are completely uninformed on the good things Biden has done. And they're like angry at him for legitimate reasons, but it's also like, he's demonstrably the better candidate and will get us a lot of the things that we want and need to move forward.
Yeah. I even hear people saying Biden didn't do things, which he did, which he actually did. I hear that all the time, you know, when these man on the street interviews, you know, like somebody will be like, oh, well, Biden didn't do anything on student loans, or Biden didn't do anything for the environment.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, he did those things. You just are an ignoramus. And so you need
ignoramus is the word of the day. I love it. So poor George Santos has now quit his congressional bid after raising $0 in the first quarter. Incidentally, I have raised more in the first quarter, and I'm not running. So it is pretty alarming for him.
I think Democrats were crazy to let this guy go. I swear to God. I think Democrats were so stupid to let this guy go. This guy should be in Congress right now. This guy should be the face of the Republican Party in Congress. When you look at Mike Johnson, you see George 100%. Santos at his hideous freaking troll tragic sweaters under suit jackets in the halls of Congress. George Santos is a gay immigrant for Trump. That proves there is a God, and he wants us to laugh. Fuck you, atheist. Fuck you, atheist. Here's George Santos. And Democrats could have taken this guy by the ankles and beaten the Republican Party with his body every day. But instead, they had to go play, oh, let's get a Democrat into this seat, and drive him out of office. And now, yes, a Democrat holds his seat. But I would have said it's worth it. Keep him there and make him the face of the party, and make the rest of them defend him like they have to defend Marge Green and Matt Venmo Baby Gates. So, you know, this is at least it drives up my respect for the voters, for the Republicans of Long Island, that he hasn't raised any money. But keep in mind, he quit the Republican Party. So I don't exactly know who he's trying to raise it from at this point.
Yeah, no, well, that is true. Yeah, this was an independent candidacy that he was filing.
I mean, I think when you're sitting on $0,
I'm just shocked.
You're taking money from anyone.
Well, that's what I was shocked that it was $0. Like, how is that even possible that no one gave him money just as a joke? You know, like, if I had known he was raising money, you know what, man, when $1,
when you're gonna lie about being Jewish on Long Island, when you're gonna lie about 9/11 on Long Island. I'm from Long Island. You got a set of balls on you to lie about your mother being a victim of 9/11 when she wasn't around. You got a set of balls on you to say that your family escaped the Holocaust when they didn't on Long Island. This guy, I mean, I want a book on chutzpah, and I want him to buy it for me. It's just the whole thing. He's a symptom of the age of Trump. And, you know, he'll be around as, I mean, who knows? I mean,
Mhm.
this guy will do anything for a job, and I'd call him a bottom feeder, but that's an insult to carp.
I at least his lies are obvious. Like you're saying, he's
And
lied about. I mean,
entertaining.
anyone can find out. Anyone with a fucking computer or access to a public library can find out about his family's history and their involvement in the Holocaust. It's all of these assholes are lying. This is just a guy that swung a little too hard and
Look,
knocked it out of the park.
and Donald Trump has told so many lies about 9/11, and these people who fetishize 9/11 have never held him to account on it either. Like Donald Trump just
Mhm.
gets away with these things others
Oh, yeah.
don't. Trump's lied that he
Because he's the top
lost
dog.
friends
That's
that
what it comes down
day.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, he lied that he lost friends that day.
Yeah.
He lied that he was there helping with the relief work. I mean, he just couldn't stop. He couldn't stop lying about it and exploiting it and taking the loans, even though he didn't need the money. Like, for whatever reason, it didn't work for George Santos because he was a gay man doing it. Maybe if he'd been like sleeping with models, weak people would have fought to keep him in power too.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Who knows? I mean, yeah, I think it's just that he's not the top dog, and that's, if you're on top in the Republican Party, you literally can do no wrong because what you say is what's right. Like that's because they don't actually have a moral belief system. They have,
but in 10 years, they're gonna all deny they ever supported Trump, right? Like they're gonna cut this guy.
Yeah.
The way they all like for
just
10
like with
years,
Bush, yeah.
We screamed to them about Bush, and they hated us.
Yeah.
For being anti-Bush. They hated us for saying the Iraq war was a bad idea. They hated us for saying, you know what, cutting taxes for the wealthy while having 2 wars off the books, not really good long-term for the economy. They hated us for it. And then Trump comes along, says the exact same things, and they believed him. And now George W. Bush is persona non grata. George W. Bush would not be invited to speak at the Republican National Convention. And so this is their fickledom. This is what they believe in. They have no values. Like I said, Reagan and Nixon wouldn't be allowed in this party now. Within 10 years, these cowards will deny they ever support. Mark it with your uncle racist. Save those Facebook posts.
Your uncle racist.
Your uncle racist and your aunt dead inside will deny they ever supported Donald. Well, he was better than the alternative, but we didn't. We just were against abortion. We didn't like him. They're all going to deny it. You'll see.
100%. You would have to be on hardcore drugs. And I mean like methamphetamines to bath salts to think that Trump could be a good president. But on the other side of things, I think we'd all be better off if we were doing psychedelics. And there is an Oakland pastor who has told his congregation to use psychedelic mushrooms. I am joining this church tomorrow morning.
Yeah, well, and basically it is he's able to do this legally, at least in the city of Oakland, because mushrooms are actually legal in Oakland. Yeah, they're not legal nationally or in California either. So it's an interesting sort of business proposition.
I think it's great.
But hey,
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, like a lot of pastors will talk a good game about God, but this guy will introduce you directly freaking to him. So well done.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
We can all be conduits of Jesus or whomever of the Lord.
I'm not here to promote hallucinogens. I'm not here to
Mm-hmm.
promote hallucinogens at all. But I'll say, I don't know a lot of people who are hardcore atheists after hallucinogens. That's all I'll say. I'm not saying you believe in God with the white man and the fuck off beard, but just saying many people that I have heard and read in pamphlets have deepened their spiritual journeys through ayahuasca and through things like mushrooms. I mean, it's literally, if there is a God, he or she put it here for a reason. and there are things that we can learn. And I think that this moves us one step closer to getting serious about exploring psilocybin and using it as a treatment for trauma
100%.
and PTSD. It is profoundly moral to have that as the overall goal. We are all so depressed in this society, and I do believe that there can be answers and therapies and treatments that can help people. So I think this is profoundly good. And of course, it's helping, it's healing. And when you act like Jesus, they'll find a way to nail you for it. Don't ever forget, conservative religion and authoritarianism combined is what got Jesus killed. I'm so sorry, Lisa.
No, you're totally fine. I was just going to say that I think the fact that it is healing, and I'm a huge pusher of mushrooms. I don't do them often, but I love them, and I've always had amazing experiences on them, and I come away feeling better about things generally, and being less angry, and having more forgiveness to people who have wronged me, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that is exactly why pharmaceutical companies will do everything. They are going to fight tooth and nail to not let this become legalized, because just like medical marijuana being used for not that it's curing cancer, but it helps cancer patients. And I think pharmaceutical companies wanna make pills for that instead, that they can charge you to death for. That was me. Sorry, I bark when I get excited.
Yeah, well, and apparently the church has opened they opened another branch in San Francisco, actually. So
nice.
Everybody goes there. It's
looks like I'm moving up north
neighborhood. But it is the case, though,
because I already mess up and call the Mormons LSD all the time instead of LDS. So this is just going to make it more complicated for me.
Yeah. Well, so I guess people will have to check it out. And speaking of check it out, so John, where do you want people to go to keep up with the stuff that you're doing?
Well, if you must torture yourself, I do a show every night on SiriusXM Progress 127, and we're live and take calls and have celebrities and comedians and journalists and politicians and cool stuff. I also, if you don't have SiriusXM, our show is available as a free podcast every day. It's like the highlights of last night's show. That's the John Fugelsang podcast. And I'm on tour right now with Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal comedy tour, the Save the World tour with Hal Sparks and Frangela. This tour has been going on for a dozen years. Everybody from Lily Tomlin to Rob Reiner to Margaret Cho to Nancy Pelosi has joined us on stage in the past. And we're playing Madison and Albuquerque coming up in May, and coming to a town near you with Live Nation very soon. And I'm writing a book and pretending to be a father. So with all that combined.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, what's the website for the tour if people want to?
Sexyliberal.com or livenation.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for being here, John. It's been great.
Guys, thank you. I loved having you on my show. I'm really honored that you would really make the choice to tank your own broadcast by having me here. Thank you.
It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
And I would like for everyone to please find me on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry. I will be at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club actually this weekend, May 4th. I will be at the Machynlleth Comedy Festival in Machynlleth, Wales. It's my favorite thing. Next week, I will be doing gigs around London. And then May 28th through June 2nd, I will be at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. So come out to that.
Amazing.
All right. And everybody make sure to follow at Doomscroll Show on all the places. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. All right.
All right.
See you guys.